The annual Parker family reunion was in full swing at my brother Michael's newly purchased mansion in the Hamptons. Crystal glasses clinked as relatives compared vacation homes, investment portfolios and children's private school achievements. I sat quietly at the corner of the massive dining table, wearing a simple dress from a department store, or so they thought. "Katherine, darling," my Aunt Patricia's voice carried across the table, dripping with false sympathy, "still working at that, what was it again? Credit union." I smiled politely, thinking of my corner office on the top floor of Sterling Financial Group's headquarters in Manhattan. Just a small financial institution, Aunt Patricia. Nothing as impressive as Michael's investment firm. My brother smirked, adjusting his custom-made suit. "Come on, Kat. A credit union? You went to Harvard Business School for that." What they didn't know was that credit union was actually one of my smaller holdings, a perfect cover for my real position as CEO of Sterling Financial, one of the largest private banking institutions in the world. While they bragged about millions, I quietly controlled billions. "Well," my mother sighed, swirling her expensive wine, "at least some of our children are successful. Michael just closed another major real estate deal." "What was it, darling?" "20 million. I hid my smile behind my water glass, knowing that Michael's major deal had been financed through one of my subsidiary banks. Not that he knew that. In fact, most of the wealth being flaunted around this table had been borrowed from institutions I secretly controlled. "I heard you're still renting that little apartment in Brooklyn?" My cousin Emma chimed in, her diamond bracelet catching the light. "You know, I have some property investments that could help you get started." My phone buzzed discreetly, a message from my actual assistant. "Ma'am, acquisition of Northeast lending complete. We now control all major mortgages in the Hampton area, including your family's properties." "Speaking of property," Michael continued, gesturing around his new mansion, "this place is just a starter home. We're looking at a bigger estate next month. Something more substantial." I thought about the folder sitting in my private office, containing the complete financial records of every person at this table. Michael's starter home was leveraged to the hilt, with a mortgage that, as of an hour ago, my bank now owned. "That's wonderful," I murmured, watching my cousin Rebecca show off her new designer bag, purchased with a credit card from another bank I'd recently acquired. "You know, Katherine," my father started, using his concerned parent voice, "Michael could always find you a position at his firm. Something more suitable for someone with your education. If they only knew that while they were offering me entry-level positions, I was orchestrating billion-dollar mergers and acquisitions. That every loan, every mortgage, every line of credit they were using to maintain their lavish lifestyles now ultimately answered to me." "I'm comfortable where I am," I replied, just as my phone buzzed again. "Did your little credit union finally give you a smartphone?" Michael laughed. "Or are you still using that old model?" I glanced at my phone, actually the latest prototype from a tech company I owned, and saw another message from my assistant. "Final papers ready for tomorrow's revelation. All family financial records compiled as requested." "Just work," I said mildly, watching Michael's wife show off her new tennis bracelet financed by a Sterling Financial credit line. "Speaking of work," my brother announced, standing to make a toast, "I have some exciting news. We're expanding the firm. Taking over some smaller financial institutions. Time to show everyone what real success looks like." I bit back a laugh, knowing that his planned expansion would need financing that would have to come through one of my banks. The pieces were falling perfectly into place for tomorrow's revelation. Later that evening in my real home, a penthouse overlooking Central Park, I reviewed the files my team had prepared. Every loan, every mortgage, every credit line my family had taken out to maintain their illusion of wealth was now under Sterling Financial's control. "Miss Katherine," my actual assistant, James, entered with updated reports. "The acquisition of Northeast Lending is complete. We now control your brother's business loans as well." I smiled, remembering Michael's condescending toast. "And his expansion plans?" "His firm attempted to secure financing through 3 different banks today." James consulted his tablet. "All of them subsidiaries of Sterling Financial. The applications are waiting for your personal review." On my desk sat an old family photo, taken before I'd built my empire. Back when they thought my Harvard degree was being wasted at a small credit union. That credit union had been my first acquisition, the foundation upon which I'd built Sterling Financial into a banking powerhouse. My phone lit up with a text from Michael. "Hey sis, sorry if I was rough earlier. But seriously, let me help you get into real finance. Can't have a Harvard grad working at a credit union forever." Waking face. I glanced at the wall of screens displaying Sterling Financial's global operations, hundreds of banks, investment firms and financial institutions, all answering to me. Real finance, indeed. "James, is everything ready for tomorrow's board meeting?" "Yes, ma'am. Your family's complete financial records have been compiled. Every loan, every mortgage, every credit card. It's quite substantial." I walked to the window looking out over the city I'd quietly conquered. "And the timing?" "Their monthly payments are all due tomorrow. Under the new ownership structure, they'll receive notifications about their loans being transferred to Sterling Financial. Your signature will be on every document." Another text buzzed through my mother this time. "Darling, perhaps it's time to let go of this credit union phase. The Andersons' daughter just made partner at Goldman Sachs. Meanwhile, you're barely making ends meet." If she only knew that while she was pitying my career choices, I'd built Sterling Financial into an institution that made Goldman Sachs look small. My private elevator chimed, my legal team arriving with the final documents. Tomorrow, every member of my family would discover that their loans, their mortgages, their entire financial lives were in my hands. "Ms. Katherine," my chief legal counsel began, "we've structured the revelations to hit in sequence. First, the mortgage notifications, then the business loans, finally the personal credit lines. By noon tomorrow." "By noon tomorrow," I finished, "they'll know exactly who they've been borrowing from all these years." I picked up Michael's loan application for his firm's expansion. With a single signature, I could approve or deny his dreams of growth. The same way he and my family had dismissed my dreams for years. The intercom buzzed. Another message from the office. "Ma'am, your brother's firm is attempting to expedite their loan applications. They're citing urgent business needs." "Of course they are," I murmured, thinking of his boasts at dinner. "Tell them the CEO of Sterling Financial will review their application personally, tomorrow." The next morning, I arrived at Sterling Financial's headquarters an hour early, watching the sunrise reflect off the glass towers of Manhattan's financial district. My executive suite occupied the entire top floor, a far cry from the credit union desk my family imagined I worked at. "Miss Katherine," James entered briskly, "it's starting. The first mortgage notifications have gone out." I pulled up the security feeds from various family properties on my wall of screens. There was Michael in his Hampton mansion staring at his phone in disbelief. Aunt Patricia, choking on her morning coffee as she read the email about her vacation home's mortgage. My parents huddled over their laptop, frantically clicking through documents bearing my signature. Right on cue, my phone started buzzing with messages. "Michael, Kat, something weird is happening. My mortgage got transferred to Sterling Financial. Do you know anything about this from your credit union? Mom, darling, your father is having a crisis. All our properties are suddenly under some big bank's control." Aunt Patricia. "Katherine dear, does your little credit union have any contacts at Sterling Financial? We need to speak to someone in charge immediately." I smiled, straightening my designer suit, the one they'd never seen me wear. "James, is the boardroom ready?" "Yes, ma'am. Your family's financial advisors have all requested urgent meetings with Sterling's CEO. They're gathering in the main conference room now." "Perfect." I checked my reflection in the window. Gone was the understated look from yesterday's reunion. Today I was every inch the banking magnate I'd always been. The elevator chimed and James announced, "They're here." I watched on the security feed as my family was escorted into the conference room. Michael paced anxiously in his rumpled suit, probably the same one he'd mocked my poverty in yesterday. My parents sat rigid with worry, while various cousins and aunts whispered frantically among themselves. "Where's the CO?" Michael demanded. "Do you know what's at stake here?" I pressed the intercom. "Send in the loan documents." A team of assistants entered the conference room, distributing folders to each family member. Inside was a complete record of their debts, all now owned by Sterling Financial. Finally I walked in. The room fell silent. "Katherine," my father stammered. "What are you doing here?" We need to speak with Sterling Financial's CEO. You are, I replied calmly, taking my seat at the head of the table. Katherine Sterling, founder and CEO of Sterling Financial Group. Owner of your mortgages, your business loans, and yes, Michael, that credit union you love to mock. The silence was deafening. Michael's face had gone pale as he flipped through his folder, seeing my signature on every page of his business loans. This is impossible, he whispered. You work at a credit union. That credit union was my first acquisition, I explained, pulling up displays of Sterling Financial's complete portfolio. While you were all bragging about millions, I built a banking empire worth billions. Every loan you took, every mortgage you signed, every credit line you opened, they all end up here. With me. All this time. My mother's voice trembled. When we thought you were struggling, I was building something bigger than any of you could imagine. I pressed a button and the screens showed the true extent of my empire, hundreds of banks, thousands of branches, millions of accounts. That little apartment in Brooklyn? It's one of my smaller real estate holdings. That outdated phone? I own the company that makes them. The expansion loans, Michael realized, his arrogance finally cracking. My firm's future is in my hands, I finished. Just like everything else you've all leveraged to maintain your illusions of success. I stood, smoothing my designer suit. Now about those loans. I've reviewed the terms. There will be some adjustments. Katherine, please, my father started. We're family. Funny, I replied. That didn't seem to matter yesterday when you were all competing to see who could belittle my career most effectively. I pressed another button and their new loan terms appeared on the screens. Don't worry, I won't bankrupt you. But from now on, every time you look at your bank statements, every time you make a mortgage payment, every time you swipe a credit card, you'll remember who really controls the purse strings in this family. The room remained silent as the full impact of their situation sank in. Years of mockery, of dismissal, of condescension, all while they'd been unknowingly building their lives on foundations I controlled. Now, I smiled, picking up Michael's expansion loan application. Shall we discuss your financial futures? I hear there's an opening at a certain credit union.